Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Daily Healing Journal, where I'm sharing my healing journey in real time. And today we're going to just do a shorter video because I have a little bit more on my plate than I normally would today. It's all good stuff. And I just want to check in and talk about how we learn to create boundaries in places that we didn't used to have them, and how that can trigger people. I have recently experienced this, and the thing that I want to touch on, here we go. Welcome to Key West. Spring break. But the thing that I want to talk about with this is that sometimes this is going to trigger people that are even still in your life, okay? And maybe they know a different version of you, and they might get used to it and they might not. And, you know, for me, as I'm learning to navigate new waters, especially in situations where, you know, I'm learning what it's like to make new friends, and I'm learning what it's like to get to know maybe other people that I used to know and came back into my life. And you know, I'm sure at some point I'll be able to talk about, you know, dating new people and being in different relationships and things like that. And it can be confusing, you know, because you can go back to those old habits and you go back to those old ways that were essentially maybe not something that caused a disaster in your life, but maybe they caused you to not understand your own emotions. And so for me, I just wanted to share what I've been doing. So whether it's, you know, if you're going on a new date, or you're trying to develop a new relationship with somebody that you love or that you've known for years, or maybe you're trying to meet new people, new friends. For me, I have to check in with myself, and instead of darting in and saying something or making a quick decision, because let's just be real, in today's world, that is how we operate because of that instant gratification. The best thing I've done is pull back stuff out of my life, try to not be a busy bee, so that I can check in with myself, even if that means stopping for 2 or 3 seconds before I respond to somebody. How does it make me feel? Why am I doing that? This is so important, because when you check your own behavior, it goes back to that cognitive behavioral therapy and going back to the core values. It will allow you to learn the version of yourself that you're in at that moment. And we can fluctuate in this, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have multiple personalities. We have emotions because that's our guidance system. It's part of our survival. And these things have been manipulated over the course of however so many years of evolution, because our surroundings have changed, and our survival needs are completely different now than what they used to be. And so for me, let's say somebody wants to ask me on a date, or let's say, you know, somebody wants to go to dinner, even if it's a friend. Check in before you say yes or no. And I'm trying not to be rigid. I'm trying to be mindful. I'm trying to be open. And even if that means responding with, let me think about that. Or maybe it means saying something along the lines of, right now, I'm not a completely whole person, but I would love a friendship. Maybe this means just being brutally honest about what you're going through. It doesn't mean you have to give anyone details, but you know, a lot of times people will ask me on the street, like, how are you doing? You know, because I think it's obvious that I'm going through a hard time right now. And you know what? I give them the honest answer, and that is that I'm better. I'm a little bit better every day. And even in moments of going through the emotional roller coaster, which is normal when you're healing, I think that it's important for us to give us that chance. You're not going to have it all figured out quickly. And recently, you know, somebody came to me and said, you know, you were really rude to me one time. You know, I thought that maybe we were going to go on a date, and then you shut me down. And I said something rude like, this ship has sailed. And I was like, my gosh, I'm so sorry I was so mean. For me, there are 2 things going on there. And this is how I checked my behavior. This was me protecting the new relationship that I had gotten in, for one. And because I am loyal to a fault. So, and this is something that I was talking about in therapy today with my therapist, is I know that I meant that in a good way, because I was like, stop right there, buddy. Like, I'm off the market now, you know? And that was my way of going, stay away. Not because I wanted to be mean, but because I was trying to protect this new relationship that I had gotten gotten in, which then eventually turned into an engagement, which then turned into one of my greatest life lessons. And so when this person came to me and said, hey, I just want to let you know that this kind of made me feel such and such way, no big deal or anything. And I was just, it stopped me in my tracks. And I said, I am so sorry, should have handled that differently. And I explained that I was just being loyal to my new relationship. But to be fair, not a whole lot of time had passed between this person wanting to take me out and me finding a different person. And this was years ago, but still. And I appreciated the honesty. And instead of reacting and making some kind of funny comment to avoid anything, I said what I said, I'm sorry. And I said I could have handled that better. And just acknowledging that and letting that person know that they did not deserve that. That was a bad way to handle it, saying something snarky like this ship had sailed. Even though, yes, it was the right thing to do to say to this person, hey, I'm off the market now. Like, okay. And so this is where the importance of non-reaction and thinking about what you're going to say before you say it in situations like this are very important. And it's impossible for me to know if somebody is truly single or truly has good intentions. Welcome to Key West, spring break, here they come. So you're not going to get it perfect every time, and some of these people might not have good intentions. We don't know that yet, right? And that's the beauty of taking time. And I wish I had done this in my past, but we all learn our lessons. So, and I'm trying to not become rigid, like I said. So I'm trying to give, friendships and certain things a firm boundary with love. And I'm still kind of, like I said to my therapist today, I still have my training wheels on. I'm still trying to figure out how to heal and not become somebody who's closed off from, whether it means making amends with people or starting new relationships, friendships, whatever that is. But for me, this is in slow motion. And so I highly recommend, if you're going through a healing journey, it's okay to take your time. And it's okay to go in slow mode and put it into the turtle, right? So I learned how to drive on a tractor, by the way. And, going slow there in a lower gear, it showed a turtle. And if you wanted to go into high gear, it shows the rabbit on the other side, right? And so, growing up, learning how to drive on a John Deere tractor, yes, that might shock you, but that is the truth. And I think part of the reason that is my dad knew I was not going to be able to drive a stick shift car, and tractors actually don't die usually when you are learning to shift gears. And so anyway, that's a little nostalgia there, and I had a great time on that tractor. And while my father may not want a relationship with me right now, this is a great example of having a fond memory that I'm not going to allow be removed from my past and my present, and learning that you can still be okay even though you've been hurt and mistreated and abused. And maybe if your life's been threatened like mine was, just having enough forgiveness in your heart for people who maybe were in a bad place. And maybe it wasn't that extreme. Maybe it was something like I did, where I was like, this ship has sailed, and it was kind of rude, instead of saying, you know what, I've actually found somebody now that I've decided to be in a relationship with. I know that this happened quickly and might come to a shock to you, but you deserve that explanation, so I'm giving it to you. And I wish you the best of luck. I hope we could still be friends, or whatever, however you want to say it. And I'm usually fairly good at this, but not when I feel loyal, right? And so when my ex was talking mad crap about my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother-in-law, all the people that they knew that I loved, and that was my breaking point. Welcome to Key West, spring break. There they go. So again, and that was hurtful, and I reacted, of course, because I'm very, I'm loyal. I'm loyal to a fault. And I feel like a fire burn in me when people are hurting people I love, or are overstepping boundaries of maybe I've started a new relationship and I want to protect that, right? So learning to communicate these things in a way that isn't as reactive is something that I've been working on, because it all comes from a good place. Now, there's nothing more hurtful than, if my family's decided to side with somebody who's a pathological liar and then add up all the behaviors. Of course, I wasn't acting like myself. I was being abused. I was being hurt mentally and physically, and the violence and the lies and the gaslighting was on another level. And so I'm sure that my friends and family saw this strange behavior in me. And because I hadn't told them the finite details, I hadn't told them all the tiny, intricate things, and I hadn't told them even the larger things at hand. Even when I shared some of this stuff, it didn't even scratch the surface of what I'd gone through. And why was I doing that? Because I was trying to protect this person just in case it worked out. Okay, big mistake on my part, but I didn't know how to balance how to share and what not to share. And I didn't realize the toxicity that I was living in. And I definitely didn't realize the lie I was living, right? And when you're with somebody who's building their smear campaign and building up their army behind your back because they're sensing that you're about to walk away from them, you know, when they throw those emotional grenades at you and start to attack your family and then spin around and all of a sudden they're best friends with them, not to mention besties with people in their family that they had nothing nice to say your entire relationship, right? When you are going through this kind of gaslighting and hurt and abuse, it is very hard to be yourself. It's very hard to be mindful about what's coming out of your mouth. It's very hard to be who you're born to be. And the thing about this is, you know, you'll become a version of yourself that you don't recognize anymore. And that's when I knew it was time for me to cut it out. And it was a slow burn. And I kept thinking I could fix it and put the fire out. And I've had to learn to stay in my own lane. And all I can do is control my own behavior, my own reactions, make my own apologies. And I've made the mistake of over apologizing in ways that didn't deserve it. But this is a great example, what I just told you, when this person who was very innocent and respectful said, hey, that kind of hurt my feelings when you said that. And it wasn't like they were trying to get an apology. They were just being honest. And that's when I got to use this opportunity to say, I am so sorry. I could have done better there. And this person is not going to take advantage of that either. And that's something that I'm learning to see in people, because I built my life around making excuses for people and allowing them to call me the crazy, you know, maybe they're calling me the crazy person. Oh, you're the crazy sister, you know, and I actually like owned the label these people were giving me, when actually what was crazy was that I was going along with something like that. I'm authentic, I show my emotions, and that makes people very uncomfortable who are not comfortable doing the same thing. And so if anything, you know, being authentic, being able to check in with your own emotions and your own guidance system, that's going to make people around you that are incapable of respecting boundaries and doing that very uncomfortable. And they're going to find ways to point it out, and they're going to find ways to, whether it be push you out of your life or make you feel crazy and call you crazy. If you know that your intentions are good, if you know that your actions are not to hurt anyone, if you know inside that you are full of love and that you're just trying to be authentic to yourself for your journey, for who you are, these are 3 things that you can check in with yourself. And if people are still throwing rocks at you, keep walking. Keep walking, and don't go along with the narrative that they have chosen to make of you. And this could be, maybe you were not a better version of yourself in one moment, okay? But the people who truly love you and the people who truly are on your side in your court are going to have the empathy in their heart to see you grow. And they're going to have empathy in their heart to appreciate the new version of you that you're creating. And if these people don't have respect for that, let them go. It's hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I'm learning new lessons every day. And if these people end up coming back into your life, great. But if they don't, let them go. And in this process, you're going to learn how to build your world. And I'm learning to build my world. And I said to my therapist today, and I just finished therapy, so that's why it's fresh on my mind. But, you know, you're going to learn that it's almost like a brand new baby. A baby's gonna get a scratch, trip, and fall, but it's your job to nurture that baby. And that's how I feel about my healing journey right now. Or when you get a new car, you don't want the car to get scratches. You try to baby it right in that first stage, even though it's inevitable that car is gonna get scratches, right? Maybe you have a brand new house or a brand new anything, and you're trying to keep that nice, take care of it. Always continue to take care of it, but accept that it's not always gonna be perfect. And that's where, you know, you can allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to exercise your empathy and your emotions and check in with yourself and make apologies where it's needed, but don't over apologize like I have, because all that does, if people are just take, and they're taking that rope and they're taking that rope, and you find yourself constantly apologizing just to make things better with people, yet they're the ones that are telling you you're the narcissist, and they're the ones saying you're the psychopath and the sociopath, and they're the ones saying you're the sociopath, and they're the ones saying you are selfish, and they're the ones saying you are the problem and you're the crazy one and you need help. I have news for you. A lot of times, especially if you know you've checked in with yourself, don't listen to those people. And the only thing that I can say is, if you have not checked in with yourself, maybe listen to them to a degree, get some professional help, do some introspective work, and correct the things about yourself. But if these people are going to continue to call you crazy as you do this, let them. Maybe they can learn something from you. All right, so I hope that helps you guys today. Be authentic in your own skin and allow yourself to be human, okay? No matter what color, shape, size, background, orientation, it does not matter, okay? Don't let anybody make fun of you. And by that I mean, it doesn't mean you even have to outwardly stand up for yourself, but make sure you have that mental guard inside. If they're calling you crazy, let them call you crazy. You know what? We're allowed to be the good kind of crazy too. Good crazy means being authentic and standing up for yourself and being comfortable with your emotions and not hiding that, because we're all unique individuals and we all deserve to dance and stand on our own stage. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a singer. It doesn't mean you have to do this. I mean this in a metaphoric way. Just be your authentic self. Allow yourself to be human. All right? I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.